Welcome back to Fallout 3, where today we're going to be taking a look at pretty iconic weapons in the Fallout 3 series and just the Fallout series in general. These are the plasma rifles, the regular plasma rifle and its unique variant. So the plasma rifle is going to be showing up throughout Fallout 3 quite a bit because it's one of the primary weapons of the Enclave. Soldiers tend to either carry plasma rifles or laser rifles, and picking up a lot of plasma rifles is not very difficult once you get to the mid to late game of Fallout 3, assuming that you're doing part of the main story. And even sometimes, since there is a few weird places where Enclave soldiers can just sort of spawn in, I think that's some sort of rendering error or something like that, some sort of bug in the game where there are a couple locations that I know of where for some odd reason, there's just like an Enclave soldier that can spawn there. And that's not weird once the Enclave is in full effect, where there's usually patrols in those areas, but sometimes there's just like one guy wandering around there and you can fight him early on. So you might be able to get a plasma rifle fairly early on, but a lot of vendors don't really sell this. It can be kind of a rare weapon otherwise. So the plasma rifle for stats does 45 damage per shot, which is really good. That's actually really good damage for a rifle. This one has 180 damage per second. You can actually shoot at the plasma rifle really fast. This does have a travel time to it, but it's not terrible. It's not the worst travel time in the game, so it's not super difficult to hit things at a distance, assuming that they're not moving really fast. This has a 2x crit modifier, so it's more likely to hit crits. Weirdly enough, does 45 crit damage, slightly less than its regular damage, but hey, more crit damage is awesome. This one costs 25 action points, so not very bad, about the same as most rifles. This one has 0.2 spread. The spread on the plasma rifle is not really all that much, and the projectile is a little bit bigger than what you would sort of expect, so the spread really doesn't matter a whole lot of the time, especially since this one you want to be using at like medium to short range. This has a magazine of 12, weighs 8, and you can fire 500 shots through this before it breaks. So the plasma rifle is a pretty solid weapon for just all of its stats. It's pretty good overall as a semi-automatic rifle that does pretty much everything that you'd want it to do. For the pros of this, it's got high damage per second, and it's got really solid stats all the way around. The only real con with this one is that its projectile speed is a little bit slow. So you will need to aim in front of enemies a little bit whenever you're firing this, but that's only really at long range. If you're at close to medium range, just kind of point it directly at them and you should hit them. Assuming that they're not moving around sporadically, which usually doesn't happen too much in Fallout 3, so the plasma rifle is actually a really solid weapon. For an overall rating for the plasma rifle, I'd put this one up into A tier. I think it's a really good weapon. Now let's move over to the unique variant, which is called the A321. Now this one you can get as a reward from a quest. This is from doing the Replicated Man quest, and this one you gotta run to Rivet City in order to do. You need to get like a file about this first. You can get this from Moira, so that's really nice. You can talk to Moira, then you can run down to Rivet City. You have to go to the other side of the boat and talk to the surgeon there. There are Mirelurks in that part of the ship, but you can avoid them for the most part. Then just talk to the doctor, and then you can go back to Harkness, the guy that you meet as soon as you get into Rivet City, because he is the Replicated Man. You side with him, then you get this weapon. And this weapon's really strong. So this weapon does 50 damage per shot, which is a lot, 200 damage per second, has a 2.5 times crit modifier, so it's even more likely to hit crits than the regular one. Does 50 crit damage. This one has the same spread at 0.2, holds 12 rounds in it, also weighs 8, and has slightly better item health at 600 shots before it breaks. This one is really good. This is one of the best weapons that you can rush early on because it's a pretty easy quest to do, and it's not going to take too many resources in order for you to do it, especially if you just want to rush to the doctor and then rush right back. So you can get this within like the first hour of actually playing Fallout 3, and you're pretty much going to be set for the rest of the game if you want to do that, because the microfusion cells that this one takes are not super difficult to find. If you plan on just doing the main quest, you're going to have plenty of plasma rifles to fix this up with, because you're going to run into the Enclave pretty early on, and it's going to make the rest of the game really easy, especially exploring, and this is like a really strong go-to weapon for the start of the game. Now during that quest, you do have to turn in Zimmerman into Harkness in order to get this, but you can get both rewards for this quest. You just have to talk to Harkness first, ask him if you can kill the people that are after him, and then he'll say sure and give you this rifle, which will make that job really easy. Go back down to Zimmerman and then talk to him and say that Harkness is the synth that he's looking for. Then you can kill both those guys, or you can just not and let them take away Harkness, I guess. And if you do that, then you get the Wired Reflexes perk too, which gives you better accuracy in V.A.T.S. So this can be a really strong combination, especially if you wanted to pump energy weapons early on. This is really good. This weapon I would easily put up into S tier. I think it's one of the best starting weapons that you can get in Fallout 3, and I think it's just one of the best general weapons that you can carry around. It's not overpoweredly broken, like some of the weapons we've talked about, but it is very, very solid. And that'll do it for the plasma rifles. Tell me your thoughts on them. Thank you guys so very much for watching this. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.